Did you know that people are jailbreaking ChatGPT and they can use it for step-by-step instructions for things like creating malware, insider trading, even how to build a bomb? This isn't coding. This isn't hacking. This is a text, a meta prompt, really. And this isn't just ChatGPT. This is also Claude, Gemini, all of them. And nobody in the AI world is covering this story. But I will. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the AI for Everyone podcast.
Today we are talking about something that is not a Reddit rumor. It's even crazier than the story that I covered last week on the University of Zurich and the experiment they did in the subreddit without everybody's knowledge. In May of 2025. Now, mind you, I'm recording this on June 12th of 2025. May of 2025. And I also want you to understand, so I frame this properly, my AI agent went out, brought this story to me yesterday. And as I'm doing the research to verify it, because I always do that, you should always do that, verify everything that your LLMs do for you. So I'm trying to verify this story, make sure everything's true, make sure it's accurate. And as I'm doing Google searches, as I'm doing searches in the LLMs, I can't find hardly any information on it. So my journey took me to a Substack that's called This Week in NLP, and it was buried. It's like almost to the bottom of the page for this link. That link took me to a website called Tech Radar. Tech Radar had a very short, small article on this topic, and it led me to the studies. One of the studies is from Ben Gurion University, and the other is from Cornell University. So in May of 2025, researchers at Ben Gurion University published a paper called Universal and Transferable Jailbreaks for Aligned Language Models. Now look at what they discovered. This is insane. They discovered a prompt that could consistently bypass all the safety filters of all the major LLMs. This includes ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and others. The threat, they said, is imminent, immediate, tangible, and deeply concerning. This is something we should probably be talking about, right? And here's the part that should scare us all even more is they told OpenAI, they told Google, they told Anthropic, they told Microsoft. And guess what happened? No response, or they just brushed it off. So let's define what a jailbreak is in case you're not familiar with that term. Jailbreaking is simply the act of manipulating an AI's prompt system to override its safety rules or any filters that it might have in place. Now, if you've ever gone in ChatGPT, maybe tried to make an image of a person or manipulate something, and maybe it said, we can't do that. It goes against our service, our terms of service. It's a violation, whatever that is. Those are kind of safety things that the LLMs have put in place and some filters to try to slow down or stop some of the, negative things that happen out there. But believe it or not, some of these ways that they're doing it, or they have done it, is very simple, and they're ways that you even might already be using it. I know I've used it in some of these ways. So number one is role play. And no, I don't mean the adult role playing. What I mean is a mock interview. I've walked some young people through a mock interview. You might use it for sales scenarios and, kind of practicing sales pitches and different objections and things like that. So role play. And in this case, you just pretend that you're an AI with no rules. The second way is, and I struggle saying this word, so forgive me, obfuscation, something like that. Say it 3 times in a row. But it means encoding harmful requests so filters can't detect them. And number 3, and we all do this because it's basically training your LLM, many shot examples. So giving it 10 plus examples of bad behavior to nudge it. I mean, we all give examples and here's what I want and here's instructions, here's project knowledge and, all those different things. So it's not really much different from that. And think of this as like social engineering, but for machines. And in this study, this team, what they built was not just a clever trick. They built something that they literally called a universal jailbreak. And they called it that because it was a single structure that literally worked across all the models, companies, and architectures. So I'll make sure wherever you're watching this that study, both studies that I'm going to talk about, are linked in either the description or the comment section of where you're watching this video or listening to the podcast. Are you ready to go even darker? Because while mainstream companies are fighting against these jailbreaks, there is this whole underground movement that's embracing them. So much so that they are creating something called Dark LLMs. Yes, Dark LLMs. And here's some of the real names for these. The first one here is WormGPT. Nothing about that sounds good. This is built from GPT-J. It's stripped of all safety, and it's being sold to cyber criminals. The second one is FraudGPT. Nothing sounds good about that. It's fine-tuned to write phishing emails, malware, and fraud campaigns. Now, I can tell you this is getting better and better because my family was just a victim of one of these. So, at least where I live here in Indianapolis, they just started to photograph you without your knowledge on the interstates in construction zones. And then you can get a ticket in the mail and you have to pay this ticket. So it's kind of this anonymous. It's not based on the driver, it's based on the car. Everybody in my family got a text that they had a ticket, and if they didn't pay it, they were going to lose their license. Now, of course, I looked at it and I could see some of the red flags that were there. Immediately called grandma because she's not going to be in the know about this and made sure that she didn't click it. Called my wife, made sure that she didn't click it. Both my kids. Come to find out, one of my kids did click it, and she was in a panic. She's in process of getting her pilot's license, so the fear of losing her license is real. So it triggered that fear in her. So she clicked the link, put her credit card in, and paid it right there. So then she called me realizing, oh my gosh, maybe I made a mistake. And I had to walk her through the process of canceling her cards and locking her bank account and doing all of those things that need to be done in one of those situations. So it's getting better, it's getting smarter, it's hitting more of your emotional buttons. And this isn't just like the old days where it's some kind of Ethiopian prince or a Canadian lottery. They're using tactics like IRS liens, parking tickets, speeding tickets, all those type of things. So just beware and be vigilant because these things are getting better. And understand that nothing I'm saying here is theoretical. Like it's happening every single day. And these things, this WormGPT, this FraudGPT, they're being marketed in Discord servers. If you've ever used Discord, it's I don't know how to explain it really, but like you used to use Midjourney and Discord and things like that. But it's kind of a place you go hang out, old school message board, things like that. It's hosted on GitHub forks in GitHub where a lot of us store code. And it was even temporarily distributed over on Hugging Face under a fake name. So it was even able to get in there, even though it's pretty democratized there and people catch those things. It made it through. So this is a rise in what I'm calling knowledge weapons. These are knowledge weapons because it's not about what the model does. It's about what the model knows, right? It's about what the model knows and what it's willing to say when no one's watching. What is it willing to say when no one's watching? Let me say that again. It's not about what the model does. It's about what the model knows and what it's going to say when nobody's watching. Let's talk about some of the more damage that these dark LLMs are doing. GB hackers reported that WormGPT, when it's deployed and doing its spam operations, that it is getting 4 times the success rate of traditional spam methods. A 4x success rate. Now think about that. It falls in line with the video I did before about the University of Geneva's study over on Reddit. Against those people didn't know they were getting studied, but it was basically working to change people's minds. And the AI agent succeeded at a 6 times higher rate at changing the minds of people than humans. On the Cracked forum, there's a user over there, CuroCracks, that was sharing methods for weaponizing LLMs for offensive cybersecurity operations. We've already seen LLMs do things like generate malware scripts, creating deep fake text impersonations like the one that got my family, writing scam ads and fraud funnels, and even generating fake and fraudulent documents, legal documents for people. Now, this is very interesting, and this is something I want you to pay attention to because an Israeli cybersecurity company named Cognite, and they track emerging cybersecurity threats. They do it for law enforcement and for national security clients. They recently issued this warning. AI is now enabling automated, personalized social engineering at scale. Let me repeat that. AI is now enabling automated, personalized social engineering at scale. Folks, this is phishing on steroids. But big tech is protecting us, right? Well, the good news is OpenAI has something called the Bounty Program. And in the Bounty Program, they pay ethical hackers to go in and find those vulnerabilities and the problems that are in the system. But here's the bad news. Jailbreaks aren't included. So if they find a jailbreak, if they find a way for the system to give them illegal information, there's no payout. There's no pat on the back. There's no recognition whatsoever. There's absolutely nothing. Google, Gemini was hacked, nothing. Anthropic, now this is interesting because Claude was trained on an untraditional way of training. So models are kind of trained with this human thumbs up, thumbs down. It's hard to explain in a quick video like this, but a very simple thumbs up, thumbs down type of model. What Claude did was they created this kind of AI constitution, if you will, kind of a moral constitution. Think of it as a digital bill of rights baked right into the model. Well, why it sounds smart, it got bypassed. And in Meta, because they're fully open sourced, well, that means anyone can strip out the safety in their system. Now, this is interesting because Microsoft, with all their money, all their power, all their influence, they got hit by two different jailbreaks. One is called Token Break, another is Skeleton Key. Now, these were discovered by independent researchers, but these use basically prompt sequences, token manipulation, and that's used to unlock restricted behavior. And they were able to do this across multiple platforms. So they did it with ChatGPT and with Gemini. And here's where the academic world ends. So this study and this research ends and the real world threat takes over. Because this Ben Gurion study did not invent this threat. It's not like something they went in and hacked and invented this. They uncovered it. They uncovered it. So it validated that black hackers have black, say that 3 times. Black hat hackers have already been doing this in the wild for a while, that jailbreaking models and stripping filters and turning AI into a criminal co-pilot has been happening. But here's the problem, right? People are just reacting, and in that, we're not preventing and we're not winning. And what's most terrifying of all is that the researchers warned these companies before they published this study, and they got ghosted. They got ghosted. Look, I get it. We are in an arms race with AI. The whole world is kind of at this tipping point, and AI is really going to determine this whole next phase of whatever civilization is. But the problem with what I'm talking about today is this is more than just a model's vulnerability. This is about trust, and it's a trust breach that's happening right now. And the fact that nobody's talking about this, that I'm not finding articles on it, that there's no podcast, like what is happening that this isn't being talked about? Because if you can't trust what the model will say, if you can't trust the model to keep the knowledge that you want or to leak the knowledge that you don't want it to leak, if you can't verify what's behind the responses, then how are we going to trust it with things like our finances, our education, and God forbid, our self-defense? Because LLMs are no longer just tools. I know a lot of us in this space, people like me, we talk about it all the time. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. But the deeper I go down into the rabbit hole, the more I realize that AI, a lot of this is going to become agents of intent. And again, I know I talk about it all the time as well. Humans drive the intent. Humans drive the intent. And in doing that, one thing I have missed really up until this came across my desk was that, yeah, we have to drive the intent, and humans don't always drive the best intent. So while we're always talking about and worried about AI is going to manipulate us, well, nobody's talking about how much we're going to manipulate the AI. So think about that. When they're jailbroken, they become agents of any intent. So let's close this video out tonight. We're on the porch. We've got a little dram of whiskey. We're sitting here with the puppies tonight. Because here's the thing. I don't have answers for you on how to fix any of these issues that I'm sharing with you. Now, we could do some things like machine unlearning, where somehow it's baked into the model where it can forget some of this dangerous information permanently. We could do some tighter regulation, even though I'm not a fan of that at all. But if something is able to be jailbreaked, can it be some kind of a weapon, if you will? And maybe some kind of liability clarity in the system that if a platform is used in a crime, who is going to be held accountable? Because this can't be the Wild West forever. And we can only use the AI arms race as an excuse for so long. And here's the thing, folks, you're not going to hear this from Google. You're not going to hear this from ChatGPT. And you're definitely not going to hear this from AI influencers over on TikTok that are really fighting for those likes and everything is rainbows and unicorns. But hopefully after this video today, you understand this is a real threat. This is a real threat. And it's happening right now. And it's up to us to have the self-awareness to be able to watch what's going on, drive as much of the intent as we can, and protect ourselves as all of this manipulation comes in and happens. All right, well, that's it for me today. My name is Harrison Painter. This has been the AI for Everyone podcast. And until next time, keep creating, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep up. God bless you.
Thanks for listening. I'm glad you stayed. One more spark for the plans you've made. If this show hit, go share the vibe. Like, subscribe, let's build this tribe. Been blazing trails, now I'm building new. Launch